Oh, g'day. Just out here killing some cane toads. So you see cane toads? I just stomped this one with my boot. 2 of them, in fact. Terribly unfortunate, but you have to do it. You have to do it. I'm not feeling real good. Actually, I'm feeling about as good as those cane toads there. And been down seeing my mate Muckman, my mate Abdel Rahman, to get my baobab, because I gave all my baobab away. I said baobab. And so I feel like a bit of a fool, because baobab is the most precious thing to have. It's basically a panacea, you see. And so been going with that. And I felt I was at risk of getting sick like a normal person last week, so I've been chasing down the baobab for 7 days now. I haven't gotten sick, but I feel a cold sore starting to come today, so I'm just spewing. Oh. I'll get my baobab 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. But to get through, make sure that I don't get sick, don't get a cold sore pop up, then I had to pop down to the local supermarket. And I will admit, I went to Woolworths, which is haram, and get the goji berries, right? You get coconut water, goji berries, and molasses. And that'll get me through, and some yogurt. So the reason I went there to get yogurt for $8 for 2 kilograms, right? For goji berries, molasses, and organic oats. Right, so there's a bunch of superfoods overlapping there, so that gives you your nutritional requirements a few times over for the day. But it's the antioxidant capacity is the major thing. It's a little bit more than vitamin C. It's the antioxidant capacity of the enzymes and all the micronutrients as well that sort of surround and back up and support the whole process, you see. And so and the big thing as well is this skin suit, this radiation suit. And inside, where we get affected by radiation, unnatural and natural, it's all radiation anyway, it doesn't matter. It's about the quality of water that you have inside your body. That's why I consume so much coconut water. In fact, I'm a little bit dependent on the coconut water, or a little bit too much. And so that's just one recipe that you can have. Have the barley malt as well. And there's something else I was going to say, but I forgot what it is now. That's right, is the astrology update. I was going to give an astrology update. So today's Monday. I believe it's the 14th day of April, is it not? But it's Monday anyway, right? Full moon occurred on Sunday, 2:50 a.m., 2:53 a.m. And there's a few big things going on at the moment. Making it like a very accelerating, bright, uplifting time, moving forward, and expansion and inspiration, motivation, ideas. But then there's a lot of restriction, and there's a lot of going back, and then there's a lot of energy there that can be flaring up and turn into conflict. And that's a tricky sort of path to walk at the best of times. But currently what's going on now is there's a lot of acute astrological angles, acute mathematical angles forming. A whole range of them. And they come in just for a few minutes, or for a few hours, or a few days, up to a few weeks to a few months. There's going to be some that are going to be lasting for a few months as they move through the sky. And one's going to be Venus and Saturn. And it's a particularly interesting one for me because I've got an unaspected Venus. That means that I have difficulty getting the point across to some people. And some people take me the wrong way. I mean, one of the greatest compliments, probably the greatest compliment that I've ever received in my entire life, is that I see the world through such beautiful eyes. But I quite often get taken the wrong way, in all kinds of wrong ways as well. So I can't understand most of the ways that I get taken the wrong way. So it's a big thing for Venus. Venus unaspect. Then we've got it right next to Saturn. And so we've got a lot going on there with Saturn being separation and restriction and time and doing things properly, and there's real internal personal processes that go as a contrast to all the internal processes that go with Venus. Other people can explain this better, but the point that I want to make is that we had Mercury go direct, and then we had on Saturday Venus go direct. So that means from our point of view, the planets or the stars in the sky that have been moving away from us, and they're going into a shadow. They kind of disappeared in the shadow. Now they're coming back direct again. And so they're probably still sitting in shadow side, see? So we're facing our shadow side, still moving through the shadow, but coming back direct, you see. And so last week, then we had Mercury became direct. It's coming back for us. Look out, it's coming right for us. Okay, it's coming our way. And I'm a very mercurial person, you see. And I'm born under Mercury retrograde. So as things churn around, and they churn back around, and they churn around, and they churn back around. Right, and then we've got Venus, which is unaspected, but it's come direct as well. You know, at a time when Neptune is doing its thing, and Uranus, I can't remember all these specific angles, but there's all kinds of trines and all kinds of conjunctions and all kinds of stuff going on. It's pretty wild out there. It's pretty intense. Excuse me. Excuse me. Move it. Sleep it. Hey, quiet. Quiet. Cease. Just trying to give an educational video. Cease. Cease and desist. Thank you. Apologise for that. And so we've got tomorrow being Tuesday. It's the 15th day of April. Wait, shush! What? I beg your pardon. Then we have Mercury. He's going to be moving into Aries, right? And so that's a real thing to sort of take perspective of yourself. To be thinking about what it is that you're not feeling. As it comes into this kind of process of calculating and working it out, and understanding and processing information, and then talking, communicating. There's a big thing about communication. You know, so for me, I've got to keep in mind to make sure that I don't get too much into that and be too full on for people. And that's where we've got this Saturn thing there about restraint and restriction, containment and separation, compartmentalization, order, time, calculating, working ahead, making sure it's all done properly, structure. And then Venus is supposed to be about beauty, but it's supposed to be about expression. It's indulgent. So it needs to be restraint. Now restraint is something that you add on to something yourself. You add restraint, you don't take away. You know, if you're too much, then you add restraint on top. Right, and there's a potential and a poise and a strength and a charisma that goes with that. There's an awareness of self that goes with that, you see, when you're adding the restraint on the top of who you are and what your actions are and what your communication is, what your interaction and contribution is. And since the contribution word just come up, then I just throw in the legacy which I'm living, very consciously making sure. So as the word contributions come up, then I want to say, for the great teacher of mine, the late Chem Chin, I've really been looking at him. I finally found in myself to return to my master. After things have sort of not gone so well for me in my life, then I just hadn't returned to my master. I sort of would like to. I'd like to be living a bit better. I'd like to be a bit brighter. I'd like my flame to be burning brighter and more pure before I return to my master. But I finally made the phone call, and he passed on in 2018. It's April 2025 now. So it serves as a very steady reminder to not let time go by and not say to the people that you love and you appreciate how much you appreciate them and how much you're trying to live that legacy that they are or they were. And so he is still a legacy. I'm living his legacy. He taught me so much about how to be a good human being. Not just a good acupuncturist and a good doctor of Chinese medicine and good diagnosis and just a good physician. He taught me that. He taught me that impeccably. But he taught me how to be a good human being. And he taught me how to be a performer. He taught me how to be human. And he taught me how to be compassionate. And he taught me how to have restraint. So it's all relevant to throw that in there, because if we were throwing 584 days, because we're talking about Venus, so Venus has got this 40-day orbit, then there's this other orbit thing that it does. There's 584 days. So what were you doing 584 days ago? How were you feeling 584 days ago? What was going on for you 584 days ago? Right, now how about we compound these 548 days? Or was it 548 or 584? Just forgot. How about we compound them, or we multiply them by like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, and we sort of see then they might fit into some other patterns. For instance, like 7-year cycles or 8-year cycles. There's all kinds of overlapping patterns that we have as human beings in nature. And what do we find there? We have like 12-year orbits in comparison to 40-day orbits. We have 28-year orbits. And then we have orbits that are over 100 years. I've forgotten all the different spans, all the planetary orbits, but we have some incredible contrast within the universe. We have some incredible complexities within ourselves that create these contrasts within ourselves. It can be difficult to get a look at our own selves. But if we have a look at our past, which doesn't exist, it only exists within us, doesn't it? The story of us, of our identity, it only sits in us. We're the only ones carrying it, aren't we? We're the only ones that are holding our story. We're the only ones responsible for our footsteps, for the track that we leave in the grass. And we may not really realise the effect that we have on other people, because we might have the best intentions. But I've certainly seen in my life, with friends like these, who needs enemies? So I've seen that in my life. So I'm sure a lot of other people have been seeing it in their lives too. And it can be like the closest people to you going out of their way to do something good for you, that just causes you an incredible amount of misery. I saw a sign on a billboard today when I was in the city. One of those loud billboards. I think it's a great idea that people get to put up what they're thinking. I saw someone put up a thing saying, wishing wet socks on all my enemies. And I read it 3 times. It took 3 times for it to sink in deep enough for me to have a little chuckle. And then I had another chuckle because I watched myself take so long to let it sink into me. I'm sitting in a certain grief, stuck in a grief pattern, which I just have to live through. When you lose a dog, if only humans could love the way the dogs love. But every time a dog leaves my life, there's something about that dog's heart that sits in my heart. So I always have that dog with me. And I hope that dog has me with them. In the case of a dog having just died, my friend's dog, not my dog, my dear friend's dog, tragic circumstances. Tragic unfolding as well about how it's caused a great separation between us. I'm not able to be there to support her. And we have to sit in this grief and we have to deal with it. And we have to take steps every day in life because that's the way life is. And that's why I got dogs, so that I have to get out of bed and I have to keep going. Because otherwise it's too easy. It's too easy in this modern world where you don't need to fight for survival. Don't have a crocodile chasing you down. It's easy to just not bother getting out of bed. Don't have bullets going over your head, then it's easy to get depressed. Don't have to debate whether it's worth killing your mother for your next meal or not. It's easy to get depressed and just not want to get out of bed. Unless you've got dogs. And if you've got dogs, then they keep you real. They keep you together. They keep you composed. They keep you forcing yourself to stay together and get out of bed and keep it going. And so we got a lot now of the celestial bodies churning in and churning out and churning in and churning out. And whatever all the other astrological influences are, which I'm not really the most qualified to be talking about anyway, but the saying goodbye, the letting go, the acknowledgement, the compassion, the gratitude, and the contribution is to be acknowledged, to be recognised, is to be savoured and appreciated, and it's to be let go. And the gratitude is absolutely vital. Because we've been through a period now that's coming from the recent astrological angles that have been formed and what's going on at the moment, the changes that are occurring in humanity and changes that are occurring in the world, changes that are occurring in nature that we must adapt to. Is that we've had this period of time, at least 7 years. Can you look at the last 7 years and you see that there's been some key players in your life for stability? You know, this is what you get from looking out to the heavens and analysing patterns and processes and repetition and mathematics. I can say to you with some confidence that if you look back over the last 7 years of your life, 2018, then you've got 3 or 4 key players in your life that have contributed to keeping you stable. But you've probably got one at least that's been there with you for the whole time or longer, and may not have been there through there every day, but if you look back at the overall, the times that they came and went, they were still there with you. You were still in something with them. You still had your sense of identity of who you were back then in relation to them. And that's something to be incredibly grateful for. That's something that's so priceless. I can't even remember the astrological whatever it is, because it's all just numbers and angles and mathematics, and there's so many of them, it's always changing all the time. But I can tell you with surety that that's the thing that is now, in the last 2 weeks, has been on your mind. It's been on everyone's mind. It's playing out in your life. Same as the solar activity has been occurring. It's been occurring in a very gentle manner, so that this stuff does get looked at in the right way. And we do evolve in the right way. There's a wonder of life and a wonder of creation that is unfolding all the time in a harmony and a grace. And I've been in a terrible state of grief. And I've also had some other terrible stresses that tear me apart from the inside. But I haven't had time to be torn apart from the inside, and I haven't had time to be worn down by the grief. I've gone into seclusion for a week or so, which is an interesting thing to do in the city. But I've been very much supported by mentors that really see what matters, and they act as masters. Masters act in accord with perfect action. Students respond to stimulus. So tomorrow, I'm waking up with a real fresh start, as consciously as I possibly can. Mercury having gone direct, with Venus having gone direct and stationing with Saturn, then Mercury's moving into Aries. Now, there's been a lot of things stifled for me for a long time, and it's been a long time coming. I've been looking for a recreation of myself in a holistic, comprehensive manner that I haven't been able to manifest or create. And I think it's time. I think it's time for that to come. And I wish that for you, each and every one of you, with absolute full power. Have that one for free. Cheerio.